In this video, I will show you how to upload your Homework 6 web pages to the ASU web host. If you go back to the course page, go back to Module 1, and you can click on the ASU Wireless Network and VPN guide sheet. You should have already downloaded and installed the student VPN. If you go to this sheet, you can follow the instructions and click on the hyperlink that is grayed out step 3 to see which VPN is best for you. So you want to select the one that requires Duo enrollment for either the Mac or the Windows 10 and download the instructions on how to install. Once you've done that, then you can connect to your VPN and then you can upload it and connect it from Dreamweaver. If you've installed the TunnelBlick for a Mac, in your Apple menu, you can connect to the ASU OpenVPN and just type in your app state username and password, and then when you see it turn green and it will say connected, that means you are connected. It will send you a push notification to Duo, and then you need to approve that in order for the connection to go through and in order for you to connect in Dreamweaver. The instruction sheet is also available, so you want to follow those instructions. Here is the instruction sheet for TunnelBlick for a Mac. So you want to make sure that you go through that when you're installing it onto your personal computer. Now, if you are using a campus computer on App State, or if you're using the ASU wireless network, you should already be on the ASU VPN and you won't have to use the student VPN in that case on your personal computer if you're using the ASU wireless network or if you're using an ASU campus computer with Dreamweaver on it. So I'm actually going to get out of TunnelBlick because I'm going to use the faculty VPN called Pulse Secure, and I'm going to open my VPN and click on connect and then type in my password for ASU, and then as it's connecting, it will send me a push notification on Duo. I'm approving it right now. After I approve it, then it will secure the connection. So whichever VPN you're using, you want to make sure you go through that process so that you approve the Duo notification. If you're having trouble connecting, go ahead and open up Duo and approve it and see if that connection will go through at that point. So now that I am connected, I can go ahead and go to Dreamweaver, and I have a site already pulled up in my Files panel. If I wanted to create a new site, I can go to Manage Sites and click New Site, and I can name it with the class name, and then I would select my root folder from my local drive. So here is my root folder that I would be using. I can choose that, click Save, and that will be what shows up in the Files panel. Once I am ready to connect, then I would go to Manage Sites, click on the pencil icon, then click on Servers on the left, and then add a server setup by clicking on the Add button, and then I would type in the server name. I'm going to type in App State. I want to connect using SFTP, and then the site address needs to have the www.appstate.edu, and then my username and password. If you recently change your password, you might want to give yourself 24 hours so to make sure that the password has gone through. You can save the password if you're using your personal computer, and then you can also test it to make sure that it is connected, and it should say that Dreamweaver connected to your web server successfully, and then you can click OK. If you receive an error message at this point, then contact me for help, or you can contact help support. Going back to the course page on this guide sheet here, the second sheet gives you instructions after you've connected to the VPN on what to do in Dreamweaver. So you can also go to the ASU Web Services site that is linked here in gray for instructions as well on how to set up your site in Dreamweaver to connect to the ASU server. And you can also link to ASU IT support services, and I need to change the date for that. So that should be September 21st, not February 23rd, so I will go back and change that. But if you click on the IT support, here you can submit a service request or you can call the help desk. And so IT has been really helpful. They've already helped me to resolve my issues as well as the student. So you can submit a service request if you're having trouble, and you can always call the help desk as well and see if they can help you. But I would recommend submitting a request because the person at the help desk may not always be able to answer your question. If you submit a request ticket, then they'll make sure they forward it to the right person who can help you with your specific issue. Going back to the course page under Helpful Resources, there's also the web publishing document that gives you instructions and screenshots on how to go to Manage Sites and to select your root folder, define your server, and then you should see the window where Dreamweaver connected to the web server successfully, and then you can upload your files to the server. At the bottom of this page, on the last page, there are also hyperlinks to the App State web services, instructions for Dreamweaver as well as for personal websites, the phone number for IT support services, as well as the link to the website. So you've got a lot of resources there for help if you need help. And you can always contact me or Sarah, or your TA, for help, and you can contact us on the Remind app. If you are not on Remind, you can still join. If you go to the course page, you can look at this image to see how to join our class Remind. You can just send a text to 810-810 at 3512 fall 21 to join our class Remind. After you've tested and Dreamweaver connected successfully, then under root directory you want to type in public_HTML, and then under web URL, after the app state URL, instead of public_HTML, replace that with the first letter of your last name, then with /, and after the / type in your username. So it should look like this, except with your username and the first letter of your last name. Then you can save your settings. I am actually going to switch over to another site that I already have uploaded to the server. And then this is slightly different in Dreamweaver 2021. If you go to the Files panel and look at Local View, where you should be in Local View, that's showing you what's on your local root folder. You can also switch to the remote server, which you probably won't have anything on the remote server at this point. You can also go to testing server, where it will test your site connection. So what we're going to do is I want to be able to see what's on the local server as well as on the remote server. So I'm going to click this expand button, that's square, that's on the right, and that's going to show on the left what is uploaded to the remote server on the ASU web server. On the right, it is showing what is on the local root server or the local site, which is on my desktop. It may be on your computer or on your storage device. So this is the local root folder on the right side and the remote root folder, that's on the server on the left side. So if you have not connected yet and you haven't uploaded anything, you probably don't have anything on the left side. So I have files because I have already uploaded files to the server. That's in the public_HTML server or folder for my username. So in order to upload your site files, what you want to do is click on the up arrow to put your files on the server. You can also click on the synchronize button, and what that does, it synchronizes everything you have on the right side on your local root folder to the left so that everything is synchronized and matches. If you just want to select an individual file such as index.html, then you can click on the up arrow to put that file on the server. Let me go back to the collapse view, and I'm going to go ahead and open up my index.html page and my text.html page. So let's just look at this. This is already uploaded on the server. So if I go to my browser, I can see my index page. So here's my URL. And then here's my index.html page, and here's my text formatting page. So these are already uploaded on the server. So this is text.html, and then I can go back to the index page. Oh, that's my new index page called portfolio index.html. Or I can click to my original index page. That's just index.html. So remember, if you don't type in index.html, it's just going to automatically look for index.html as your home page. So you don't even have to type it in if you saved it as index.html. So I'm just going to make a quick change here so you can see how it's updated. So I'm going to go back to Dreamweaver, and then I'm going to add a line that says test, or let's say test text as the last line, so you can see right now on my browser it is not here. So if I want to make a change to my current index page, I can do that in Dreamweaver, but it's not going to show up until I upload it to the server. So now I'm going to expand my view, and actually let me go back and collapse it. I want to go to Manage Sites, and I'm going to check my connection first of all. So I'm going to click on the pencil for this my site name, make sure it's pointing to the right root folder, click on Servers, and I'm going to check my server setting, and I can test it to make sure it's connecting. So it's connected. Everything is input correctly, so I'm good. I could save it, or I can just keep the settings as is, and then I can expand, and now I just want to replace the old index page with the new one. So I'm just going to select index.html on my local root folder, click on the up arrow to put that file onto the remote server. So I'm going to click on the up arrow, and it's going to ask me, do I want to save the file before putting it on there onto the remote server, because this page has been modified. So I'm going to say yes to all, and it's asking if dependent files will be included in the transfer. You want to say yes, so that anything that's linked to that page will also be included in that transfer. So I'm going to say yes, and now it should be updated. So if I go back to my Google Chrome and refresh my browser, there I can see that new line of text has been added. So it has just added that new index page and replaced the old one. So I know that I have connected to the server, I've connected to my VPN, and I was just able to upload a new file to the server. So you can do the same thing for any other files you want to put onto the server. You can select it individually and put it onto the server, or you can click synchronize to synchronize everything on your local side to move it to your remote side. Anything that you're going to upload to the ASU server, you want to keep it in the same root folder, because you only get one root folder in that public HTML folder on the ASU web host. So don't create a new site every time you do an assignment. You want to keep everything in the same root folder, and that's what I've done here. So I have several different websites nested inside this root folder. I'm using subdirectories. So I have this Ivory Tower project site nested inside my root folder, as well as a Nomad Cookie Co site, the scholarship portfolio site. So if I go back to my index page, I can click on those sites. If I click on the ePortfolio site, I can take a look at my URL address to see that this site is called scholarshipindex.html. That's the home page for this site, and it's nested within a folder called scholarship. So you only get one index.html for your AppState site, and all your AppState sites are going to start with the appstate.edu URL address, followed by the tilde and then your username. So anything you add, you're using a subdirectory, adding a folder called scholarship, and I can't use index.html again because I've already used index.html as my main homepage. So that's why I'm called the homepage for this site scholarshipindex.html. So if I go back and click on my professional site, I've done the same thing here. I've put this in a folder called Ivory Tower Project, and then my home page is called ivoryindex.html. And you'll see that percentage sign show up in place of a space. So you're not supposed to use spaces. So I used spaces in the Ivory Tower Project folder where I should not have done that. I should have used the underscore. That was my mistake, but that's why it shows up weird with the percentage symbol. So if I go back and click on my responsive site, this is my Nomad Cookie Co responsive site. So same thing in the URL address. The home page is called cookieresponsive2.html and it's nested inside a folder called mobile. So that's how we're going to get around with having one root folder allowed on the ASU web host. We're going to use subdirectories or subfolders to nest multiple sites within our single root folder, and that's what it's going to look like. Once you get to that point, you will have several subfolders for your final project 1, final project 2, and final project 3, and we'll talk about that more as we get closer to that. That's what you're going to do for homework 6. You'll have an index page linked to a text formatting page. So just remember, you're not going to have these other links yet. You're just going to have your text introduction and a link to the text page with some text formatting, and then a link back to your index page.